But before we even get there, two teams that are still kind of treading water. Is that the right way to put it, Mindy? 6Targets and Circular Spheres.
Yeah, I think that is a fair way of putting it. Circular Spheres in particular, losing 14 rounds in a row the first two play days was pretty wild, I think. But coming back and then winning like fairly convincingly 7-4, I think it was Skyscraper was their last game. That was like, okay, okay, that's the Circular Spheres we want to see. I can say the same thing about 6Targets, to be honest, about their win.
Yep. 6Targets, man. I love them.
You're just sad because you want them to do well consistently instead of doing like shit. Okay.
I just want them to win every game.
I just want more Specker interviews, to be honest, because that was a lot of fun yesterday. But funnily enough, there is actually a bit of a similarity between both of these teams. Both Circular Spheres and 6Targets started really poorly in both of their first two games and only got their first win yesterday. Maybe it was just week one jitters, if you want to get on the copium. But of course, one of them is going to lose today. And it is a hard one to pick because both of them have such inconsistent forms. Circular Spheres went from getting 7-0 to almost 7-0ing.
Right, that's the part that I just don't know. 6-0 in their first half of yesterday. That was absolutely wild. Obviously, the game finished 7-3. Circular Spheres have been inconsistent, to say the very least, but potentially, Mandy, it could have just been, as we like to say, new stage jitters.
It certainly could have been, especially when your first game is Team Bliss. That's fair enough. 7-0, write that one off. Then you go and you play your second match, and then it's also an 0-7. Yep. It gets a bit scary. But I think that last one was like, all right, that was convincing, I think, from Circular Spheres. Karo out, Pinku in as well. A bit of a roster change mid-couple play days.
Yep.
And yeah, I don't know. I think they're looking relatively back in form. Of course, this roster is sort of reverting back to that old Stage 1 2023 kind of vibe rather than the Stage 2 era of Aerial Rise.
Yep.
So, yeah, I think, to be honest, it just looks like they're kind of going through a bit of a rebuild with, trying to revert back to the way that they used to play the game.
Yeah, and I think that was when they looked the best. In my personal opinion, Dev, I feel like that was when Circular Spheres looked red hot, is when they were enjoying the game and having a laugh. And from Jake Henner's comments last night, that's what they're doing.
I think this is probably the best 5 players that you could put on Circular Spheres because if you slot in anyone else, they're not part of that like friendship group that is kind of that secret little magic about this team that gets them across the line. Of course, Pinku went over to the Triple R roster, now Antic for a stint. Jakena went over to the ex-Mammoth, now Man LFO roster for a stint as well. And this is, I think, the best 5 that you could probably conjure up. Obviously, Karo didn't really fit in with this roster super well. And yeah, I'm keen to see what they can do now that they finally found their feet because they were playing like their old selves when they played against Kelton's Knights yesterday. But of course, as we have seen, Kelton's Knights, maybe not everything they were chalked up to be. So today against 6Targets, they're also playing against a team of veterans, and now they've found their confidence. They've got the roster that they ideally should be playing with.
Yep.
I think that this is probably Circular Sphere's next best chance at racking up a couple points.
Well, you said Circular Spheres. That's the best 5 that they could put on the board. This is the best 5 you could ever have in a server. I still love them, even though they're really inconsistent at the moment, Mandy. But listening to Specker last night, I know you could barely hear the second half of the interview, but he was really talking about the fact that, the first and second play day was really them just finding their way back into the game as a team, as individuals, and starting to feel things out a little bit. Obviously, their victory yesterday was astounding, in comparison to what we were expecting. We were expecting a trouncing against Antic, but they pulled through and did so in fine fashion.
Yeah, absolutely. These guys definitely look like they're taking it seriously. They definitely look like they've got some interesting interpretations of the game, I think is the one thing that I would point out for this team. It seems like they're not afraid to consider all their options, and I think that's also what makes this team so dangerous compared to a lot of the other teams in the region as well, especially the newer ones coming in to the season. 6Targets is a team that I would be pretty nervous to play against because you don't know what they're going to bring.
No, you don't, and that's just it. You've got Nico, who has always been known as probably a bit of a degenerate almost. that's just the best way I could put it.
He's a quirky player. We'll give him that.
You've got massive brains on this team that have been in the game for such a long time. Tex has just brought a fountain of experience to this. Not even discrediting Bailey and Specker, but you've also got Nate, who's heading the team as well.
Yeah.
So Nate's coaching this team. You literally have 6 of some of the most experienced players in the game in Oceania playing. Granted, some of them haven't played for about a year, but Dev, it just goes to show that, the experience it really doesn't leave you. And when those mechanics start to come back, things start to flow.
Yeah, and really it's just about adapting to the new meta, which I think they've done a really solid job of doing. Especially when you got a player like Kaken who's been really constant up with that meta. But what you really get with this level of experience of these players is firstly, you get players that don't really care about losing. Like some teams, for example, like Logic, when he loses a game, he really feels it deeply, and that often affects him. With this 6Targets roster, you got 5 players that aren't going to go crack the shits when they lose.
No.
But on top of that, they also have the versatility to play almost any role. Look at Tex, for example. He's an IGL. He's an entry. He's played every role under the sun, and you can say that for most of these players as well. I remember back in the day when Speckle was your entry fragger. Yeah, Bailey's had his moment in the sun as well, and all of them can step up to the task, whatever is needed, which is funny because on the flip side of that, you got Circular Spheres, which are infamously just a bunch of fraggers, and they know how to play the game well, but at their core, every one of them is a spawn peeking, 1.5 abusing ranked demon.
You know what? Circular Spheres are the X-Order from 2021. That's how I would put it. If you, like, basically, you know how, like, I was saying at the end of last year, X-Mammoth kind of reminds me of Bliss back in the day because they were the up-and-coming. Yeah. This is, like, you've basically got, like, the old version versus the young version, Mandy. Almost, I reckon if you were in comms with them, both teams, you would be confused what team you were actually on because I am sure.
No,
this is some Drive to Survive level storylining, mate.
Surely you're matching the vibes.
You've got Netflix here on this one. They're like trying to spin a yarn. I kind of see what you're going for, Rob, but it's a stretch, man. You're looking for something. You might be cooking, but I tell you what, these teams do have in common, and I think you're cluing into. You're all right there, mate.
Yeah.
Are you telling me that Tex is on the pit wall going, we're checking? We're checking.
I think that it's the vibe that you're identifying there. Both of these teams, they're a bunch of mates. They love good vibes. We heard it in the Specca interview. We also heard it in Jakenna's interview yesterday. Like, it wouldn't be this team if they weren't keeping the vibes up and having a good time.
Yeah, and it seems like that's actually following suit from a lot of teams as well. Even Logic in his interview just then, I know you guys were down here. Logic was even mentioning that part of the big thing coming in today, they didn't really change anything about their gameplay, but what they did do was yell and scream a lot more. So whenever someone got a kill, Tuhan would have heard his name multiple times throughout that game. They're just hyping each other up. So it's very clear that there's a distinct difference, especially in OCE. I'm not going to talk about any region right now. I'm just going to specifically hone in on OCE because every region deals with it differently. But when you are on fire in this region and you're being gassed up by your mates, there is something that just clicks into a different gear. But I just want to ask really bluntly, Mandy, which side do you lean to? Because I'm a 6Targets man.
Yeah.
But the reason I am is because I'm biased as hell. I can be. I'm the host. I'm not calling games. I'm not analysing games. I can be biased. But in your unbiased opinion, which side has the favour?
I've actually gone Circular Spheres for this side. They've let me down once before. I predicted them against Kelton's Knights, and they absolutely... What was it, Kelton's Knights? Sorry, Odium?
No, they beat Kelton's Knights. It would have been Odium, I reckon.
It would have been Odium. They let me down there. But this time around, I've gone Circular Spheres, and I think it's because they look like they've turned it on from yesterday. And also, I think the way that they play the game will be a little hard for 6Targets to keep track of, whereas I think Antic, although they're a different caliber of component, I think just the way that they go about playing the game, it's a little more predictable, I would say. And I think that tends to work in favor of 6Targets where they need like a lot of times like brew an idea and then make it happen. I don't know if they're going to be afforded that time against Circular Spheres.
I would love to see if we see another Kali ban because apparently Tex just keeps getting that.
Mate, if you ban Kali, Tex is on the ash and you've got bigger problems.
Yeah, you do then have bigger problems. But Dev, we do like to theory craft sometimes.
Permission to yap, good sir.
You have permission to yap.
All right.
More so, maps.
Oh, okay. Well, funnily enough, that was actually part of my yap. So I had a lot of yap. Had a lot of yap lined up.
Mapping.
We'd be yapping, we'd be mapping, and then we'd be trapping. And now I'm rapping. Oh, we're going to Border. Which is okay. So I didn't know if we would. I didn't know if we would go to Border. To be honest, I hadn't seen the map video yet, but Border was the map I wanted to talk about because, of course, it is the map that we saw 6Targets beat Antic on yesterday. Antic, phenomenal team. We just saw them get an insane 7-0 against Panic, and 6Targets took them down on Border. It's an old map. It's a well-tried and true map, and it's a map that you have to know the current meta on because of the frag grenade nerf that came out into last year that kind of nullified the 2023 Border meta. But Circular Spheres, this is their favorite map. They have won it the last 6 times in a row that they have played it. They are a frag fest team. and Border is a Fragfest map. So I think this is probably the best battleground we could get for these two teams, because on the one hand, you got CS running outside, jumping out of windows, all that good stuff, and then you got 6Targets like back into the game, ready to cook with some Border, and they already have the solid form of playing against Antic yesterday. So this is a match made in heaven.
Just unfiltered chaos, like our commentators.
6Targets versus Circular Spheres coming up, and we continue on with some banging matchups, I hope. Because the first half of the night really wasn't all that banging. It was two very one-sided matches, Guz. And I do envision, though, the last two matchups should be close. That's my anticipation. I know you said we might be finished before 10. I don't think so. I think we're in for a bit of a treat for matches 3 and 4. We begin here on Border. A good opportunity for 6Targets to keep the good times going, and arguably same for Circular Spheres.
Yeah, 6Targets had success last night.
That's good for
on
you.
this map. They had a pretty good performance against the old Antic, 7-3 dub. Arguably, this match on paper should be a little bit easier. I'm a little surprised that we're going to this map, but as Mandy mentioned on the desk, Border is a map which offers an opportunity for Circular Spheres to aggress, to disrupt. And 6Targets are a team that do need a little bit more time in cooking up their ideas. So yeah, excited to jump into this one and fully expecting it to be more competitive than the previous two games this evening.
Yeah, so yesterday, big win for 6Targets over Antic, an Antic roster that did respond today against Panic pretty comprehensively. And for Circular Spheres, they had to get a good result against a worrying Carlton's Knights, and they did so in a pretty good fashion, 7-3. I don't actually think that scoreline itself was...
Why is Cake and... Oh my god.
What?
Did you see his jawline?
No?
Ah, he stopped doing it.
Was he doing something weird?
He was doing one of these ones.
Oh. Okay.
I don't know if... Is that called mewing in the business?
I'm not too sure, actually.
What's it called, James? Don't you know? Is it mewing? Yeah. I've got confirmation. It was
okay.
a W mew. From
Either way,
sorry.
6Targets did play this particular map yesterday and did so against an Antic roster that, as I was saying, responded today. So I would imagine 6Targets should be in a good position to follow up their form. It was a very strong-looking Border. Circular Spheres, they do begin on the attack, which is a bit more prominent when it does come to this particular map.
So the bands come through then. Ying and Zero. A little bit more of an intriguing one there from Circular Spheres, targeting again some of the intriguing strats that the old 6Targets can cook up. Notably, the Kali has made it through Antic last night. Target banned Tex, who pivoted successfully onto the Ashe and caused chaos for them defensively. So we don't see that repeated here. Defensively, it's all about information. Valk off the board, Solus off the board. And again, in combination with the Zero as well, it's going to make the info gathering on a map that really relies on it a very fun minigame to track throughout.
Yeah, so both teams started 0-2 to begin this stage as well, and with both of them winning yesterday, one of them now is going to walk away with 2 wins in a row to offset a pretty poor start to the stage. The other, on the other hand, will then be confided to yet another particular loss. And I got to say, the loser of this game, guys, it becomes far more difficult to achieve a very high seed within this particular league. I'm not saying the loser starts to look towards the bottom 2 or anything along those lines, but it will be difficult to envision that the loser of this game is going to end up, say, 2nd or 3rd. I think they would probably find themselves out of that conversation. So pretty important game when it does come to that. Also for 6Targets, you lose this game, you're into the bottom 2 at this point of the stage, which is not ideal. Despite their great win yesterday against Antic, really does sort of highlight that beyond Team Bliss and, well, somewhat Carlton's Knights. It's a very close league that we've got. Circular Spheres in the attack here for Border. And they're a team, when they're fit and firing, we have seen how good this roster can be on a fluid map like Border. It's not organic.
It's not organic.
It's not.
I still reckon you've stuffed that up. I reckon organic maps are the maps like this, where it's just raw.
I think I'm just talking out of my ass.
Well, you do that a lot. You've somehow made it your full-time job. Yeah. So you're winning it.
The one thing I will say, though, for Circular Spheres, they have an 8% win rate this stage. And I didn't stumble. 8%. Because their win yesterday on Skyscraper, 6 out of the 7 rounds were on defense. And as we know, they started this campaign 0-14 over the first 2 playdates. So they've only got 1 attacking round win heading into this match. Xenox fun fact.
Yeah. You've outdone yourself with that one. Well, it was almost worst case scenario for their first attack here on Border with Japer taken low. as he made his way forward through the front door, but he does survive with the finger up. It affords an opportunity to build the health back up of these attackers. First pick goes the way of CS, and it's the Eastairs hold dislodged from 6Targets.
Almost got a second.
Nearly.
Yeah, and almost for free. Bailey's just kind of caught, wondering how am I getting shot through the softball. Physics finds one onto Spacker, and suddenly this defense for 6Targets is falling apart. Bailey, who was just barely able to stay alive. There's 3 over the wards.
Uh-oh.
This top Eastairs, he's been droned out. He couldn't even shoot the drone. There's one down. Bot Eastairs as well. Bailey just falls apart. Just like this defense of 6Targets only. Can't get a Nico. Good start. Brings one back. Absolutely needed that. And there's a second to follow from Nico. Really strong hold over towards officers. And despite the numbers advantage that Circular Spheres had, Guz, they never quite got full map control. All they had was top east.
Minute to go
hello?
then. And the knee spotted, but Nico able to escape.
Oh, McGraw out of adrenal surges too.
Is Kaken's position known? That's the question, really.
I think it got drone through security. I saw a drone going in from top waiting.
Yeah, he's being held, I think, yeah.
So he's kind of pinched down at the moment.
Rest of the team then.
Man,
should be
this
able
is
to
so
pivot.
risky from McGraw, but he would get sound info if Nico was to head in his direction again. 35 seconds.
Should just be a pretty simple archives pivot. Especially if they back themselves in to know that Nico's low.
To be fair, doing their due diligence, final drone work.
They don't know where Nico is. They're clearing office. I don't know what's going on.
Kaken gets a kill. They did know of his position. It was McGraw. So from security, now they're in towards Fountain. Nico can hold 10 seconds, low on health. He doesn't need a peek. Try and keep as much of this site advantage as they possibly have. Pinker to plant over towards Archives. White holding for this swing. Plant is successful. Easy tap onto Nico, who was very low. The shoulder shot will do the job. It's a rotate from Kaken over towards east side of the map. And he's made some noise, and with that, White is able to swing off that contact, and Circular Spheres will find just their second attacking round of this stage to open up this game.
Well, they got there in the end. Yeah, the late round there was a little bit strange. I felt they should have had a bit more confidence in terms of looking to just hit Archives more directly and maybe have one posted up in office for any flank potential, but you know, they played it relatively conservative. It did pay off. I think going back, though, in terms of that defensive setup from 6Targets with the break extension, it feels like they're doing the Wish version of it. Top teams, especially in the likes of Brazil, I mean, not to harp on about it, we saw it in the SI Grand Final. The castle extension there with the reinforcements on the rappel wall are really key in fortifying that position. If you're just going to post up Bailey on the Azami there, with limited util elsewhere to help fortify that, putting a lot of trust in the top east hold as well. And once that breaks down, if you have no additional layer, it's really difficult to hold that position. So I'm not a huge fan of the way the 6T set it up, but we'll see the castle for this round at least.
To be fair, in that round for 6T, a lot of it just came down to the sheer aggression from Circular Spheres on their entry.
Yeah, and they're able to do that because they don't have to flood util. They don't have to sink util.
We'll see what the response is from 6Targets. But a great start for Circular Spheres, and the kind of start that I think we're quite accustomed to when they're on their best form. They're fast, they're aggressive. I haven't seen it from them much though this stage. Certainly saw more of it yesterday. That Skyscraper game where they were incredibly strong. 6Targets too though, and on this very map. Bit of a blunder to begin. But it is border. You're not going to get those attacking rounds. This is the kind of map where 3-3 halves are far more prominent and accepted.
So West Bulk stack then. Drones come through over towards Armory. 6Targets, big fans of playing the Melusi, and we'll see those Banshees scattered around to provide information for these contact fights. I believe it's Nico to contesting, and there was a drone now in through that sandwich position, so he is known. Pinku will follow up on the info closely. ACOG in hand. And that is Nico taken down. Good trade though. The position of Kaken perhaps not known, and it's good enough to catch this attack off guard.
A better start here from 6Targets on the defense. They look a little bit more ready for this push from Circular Spheres, but Tax was not ready though. Shot in the back, and Mogga White, 4th kill of the game. Gives CS the advantage ever so slightly. Roam down below, though, for 6Targets. Kaken maybe trying to get himself into a position where he could catch someone from CS off guard. One over towards break and security. Kaken just holding a very interesting angle, and he has been droned out. Yellow pings on his location. Castle Barricade has been opened up. With that, Kaken needs to rotate off of this position. Well, he's the last one alive, but not even for much longer. Massive pinch up above from Circular Spheres. They are looking confident here on border to begin.
Yeah, looking sharp. They're committing to a plan and then executing it with info with the live drones. We saw it there through Armory. Nico was the victim of that. Slight oversight, allowing Kaken to find the initial trade, but then really good response clearing top east. Tex is struggling in that position. That's 2 rounds straight now where he's held there and not had an impact. And unfortunately for him, the nature of border is means that holding that position, especially with that keeper barrier, is really, really important. And the rest of the team is looking to play off that. And with him dying the way he has, it makes it challenging. So we'll see if 6Targets can refine. But Circular Spheres, a team that pretty much hasn't won an attack or only won a singular attack so far, as you mentioned, they've doubled that count, or tripled it now at this point.
Every time you see Nico do that movement,
it's mouse malfunction. Unironically.
I saw the Twitter clip yesterday, and it was very jarring. Could not.
His mouth is just stuttering everywhere.
Yeah, it's awful.
Wow.
It almost looks like, the best way I could describe it, his mouse is on like 30 hertz. And everything else is normal.
Could you imagine?
But he's putting up with it, he is playing, and he's still finding kills as well inside of the server. Not the best start though for 6Targets. 2 early rounds on the board for Circular Spheres. What a turnaround. We spoke about it to begin yesterday. I recall we kind of touched a little bit on their performance to begin. 0-14, statistically the worst start to a league since, what was it, 2018, 19?
March 2018.
Oh my goodness. Well, the response has been swift though. A win yesterday, and if they can win again today, I mean, it really changes the tune for this season. From what looked like doom and gloom to potentially a decent seeding could be on the cards. But it is only 2 rounds into this game, and we know the 6Targets have got the experience to get themselves back into it. Slow start. Bathroom and Talus here for the 3rd round.
Kaken chipped away at elsewhere. Japer also taking some damage. So a fight over towards this CC entry, but Japer takes that ground. Yellow ping's up, so the information good. 7 drones still remain, plus the shock drones on the Twitch. Pressure will look to be applied here in towards that fountain hold. You can see Specker there currently, and Tex as well supporting inside of Office.
God.
It's the Bandit which has fortified those walls to make it a little bit challenging, but it's also the Bandit to fall first. And the entry game from 6Targets thus far in this game has not been very good.
Yeah, and it's like the 2nd round in a row that White's been able to get a pretty comfortable kill outside on the exterior. Goes 5-1 now. Pretty sensational start here from Circular Spheres. They've looked really switched on, and 6Targets at no point in the opening 3 rounds have looked in control of a round on the defense. It's all this sit back, sit on site, hold angles. They're not pushing out. They're not able to win these fights over towards the entry positions. They're not utilizing the map that you probably want when you're on the defense. And with that, Circular Spheres themselves are getting really good map control. Not for the first time here.
Yeah, they got full weighting. They can horizontal for a default already. They'll open this wall, go for the plant, and 6Targets will struggle to deny this.
Straight in from Physics. Still 60 seconds to go. No response from 6Targets. So yeah, get the plant down. I mean, there's no response. Hello, 6Targets. They're planting. Finally, a swing will come through from Nico. He's the only one that's able to apparently get some kills. They did lose Bailey. He's gone for good. McGraw will fall as well, so no Finker. And over towards top waiting, Japer gets a freebie onto Tex. He thought he maybe had an angle from up above. Difficult prospect now for Kaken and Nico. And straight away, the prospect is averted. With Nico losing his life, it's Kaken down into a 1 versus 3 with only 17 seconds remaining, and he too can't even fire a shot. 3-0 start on border from Circular Spheres. And 6Targets looked like they reverted back to week 1 standards.
Yeah, we saw this. Circular Spheres were lurking inside that waiting position, setting up for the default horizontal plant for quite some time. And the risk you run with that attacking approach is the flank from up above, and also any horizontal pressure, which could be applied to the likes of Customs and Harry Potter. We just didn't see any of that from 6Targets. Difficult to evaluate why. probably a lack of info, and I think losing that pick on to Specker didn't help, but once that plant goes down the post, it's very difficult from that position, and you know, we saw the well-executed post-plant from the attack. We see the tactical timeout in response from 6Targets. They've sensed that 3 rounds straight on the attack is enough. They don't want to let this lead blow out to anything more. We'll have to wait and see, though, how effective this will be.
Well, I mean, so far, it's all circular spheres. Dominating. 6Targets haven't, at any point, looked like they've had any semblance of control. I mean, even moments like that from Specker, do you really need to take those kind of fights? But to be fair, you also don't want to be just sitting back on site. So I don't disagree with trying to get a little aggressive on the defense. It's a map like Border, you have to. But they're just not winning any of these kind of fights across the board. No one has been able to do so. I mean, Nico has a couple of kills, but a lot of those have been kind of late in rounds when 6Targets have lost players elsewhere. In terms of these like opening kills and opening engagements, Circular Sphere is dominating. And cleanly. Mulga White up to 8 kills now as well inside of the opening 3 rounds, leading the way for Circular Spheres, who started the campaign 0-14. Feels like a lifetime ago, though. From yesterday now into today, they are looking far better. And sometimes we have to cast our mind back for this particular roster when we first got the iteration of it. Back in the Oceanic Nationals, there's a team that looked like they were on the rise, that could challenge, that with them sticking together and being a team for the future, they could get to great heights. There's been a stall in that. You just wonder, could they get back to those heights and continue on? Probably not, says Guz. He doesn't agree. Doesn't think so.
Did I say something? I don't remember saying anything.
Ah, sorry, hang on. What's your opinion on that, Guz?
I do not wish to comment on such matters. I will plead the fifth. Even though we're in Australia, and I don't think I'm allowed to do that.
I don't think so. It's an interesting team to observe as we move forward in the stage and in the coming year. Oh. Easy one for Japer. Yeah, it's a freebie. Already inside of customs. Nico had no idea. Roaming
it's just
around.
The entry, man. Like, ugh.
It's been free. Free entries for CS, either on the exterior of the building or even finding a way to get in, and 6Targets not being aware of the positions of Circular Spheres. Top east for McGraw. Just runs straight past that contact from top waiting. Throws out the air jab. I don't think that's going to work. Nope. That's the Wamai Magnet from Tex. Just catching that one. And this has to be the 4th round in a row that Circular Spheres have got the opening kill. They are just dominating 6Targets. I think, what did Rob say? There's no roster you'd rather have? I'd rather have any other roster right now.
Triple wall office opened up with the Salmas. 5 versus 4. And good info gathered. Next player now on an island is Bailey. He'll have the cross though with Spec or Sight. Tex as well through Fountain. Could find something.
Oh, no way. No way. Oh, that's so beautiful from Circular Spheres. It's not just raw, sheer, ruthless aggression. It's calculated and measured. And even in this moment when Specker thought they had the cross, they had this maybe covered. No, they did not. They were always one step behind, and now 2 players behind.
Now 6Targets, they banned out the Solace. They're not playing the Mute or the Mozzie, and the information this team is gathering and then acting upon is proving to be a big challenge for the defense to deal with. Now a 2 versus 4, 40 seconds on the clock. 2 keepers for Kaken. Position though known, being held top main, and Specker a long way away in sight. Kaken really needs to get a move on, but he can't. Does move forward, does die. Now it's Specker. A 1 versus 4.
Oh, he switched off.
Wow. 3 kills for Japer, 4 rounds in a row for CS.
Yeah, and they don't even look ecstatic right now for Circular Spheres. It's just business. Drink of the water, move on. Next round. Tactical timeout for you guys. Yeah, it didn't matter. Straight back to work, and work they did. I mean, what is this? Nico has absolutely no idea, and it's not necessarily his fault, but it's just the way it's panned out. The swift entry down below. Again, dominating on that first floor. It's almost as if 6Targets largely ignoring the vert here on Boulder in both instances. Not worried about the hatch, and then that ends up being your demise. Running around bot metal, that ends up being your demise. They just don't look comfortable inside of the server, which is so surprising considering they played this very map yesterday, and they looked so good on it. So that's where you kind of, in my eyes, just give full credit to Circular Spheres. They have been the team setting the tone early in these rounds. Swift entries, calculated and precise, not just rushing into sight unless it's given to them. And they've been by far and away the better team.
Yeah, and again, it goes back to the point that I was making at the end of the round. A lot of it has been facilitated by really good info and then clean execution on that information. Info is first, allowing them to find the weakest point of entry. Secondly, that's you know, a byproduct or allowing them to get the entry kill without honestly having to work all too hard for it, outside of maybe that kill onto Nico that we saw through Armory earlier. Then in the late round, there's still info up. We saw the really good play on the hatch with the DMR to take that down, cleared half wall, or clear the single wall in office. 6Targets, they do bring the mute this time around. We'll see if that makes a difference. I don't know. That's going to be hard.
Yeah, and also the patience play. One other point I wanted to bring up was that main stairs hold. You knew one's in security. They rotate path back to sites cut off. You just got to play patient. It's very tempting to want to push up and swing yourself, but in the end, patience did pay dividends for Circular Spheres in that moment. 6 kills as well for Japer. Yeah, I mean, right now, 6 targets. One thing that they absolutely need is probably an opening kill. So do you get over-aggressive? Do you start peeking maybe where you shouldn't be? Red ping out over towards Archives. I think there was maybe an attempt at that by 6T. They've fallen back a little bit. Pink already almost into Fountain. And so far, break security to areas of the map where 6Targets are holding strong. But this is where Circular Spheres have been very good in flushing out these kinds of positions.
So wall this time is reinforced. It's soft though to the north. Can they use that to exploit Bailey?
Oh, what is that peak?
Not quite. In the meantime, Spec has fallen elsewhere. 0-5. Minute 30 to go in the round. The round for 6Target hinges on this roam.
I mean, I like this angle here from Nico. That's great control towards the hallway. And he kind of cross. It's a very difficult angle. One might be able to still cross. You get a little tag in. That's all you might get. There's a shoulder peek. Doesn't shoot initially. And it's a very awful feeling when you're that kind of player holding such a good angle and the rest of your team is just falling apart. We didn't even quite get to see it. But it's very easy to explain the pinch over towards security from across the board. Circular Spheres just had them absolutely choked into that position. They got completely inundated with pressure and they could not deal with it. From all different angles, 6Targets obliterated. 5-0 start from Circular Spheres. And boy, have they made amends for their poor start to this stage. We might be...
I was going to say, I think we're going to finish before 10.
We might be able to finish before 10. Because I'm baffled as to what we're seeing from 6Targets right now. Crazy. I mean, they beat Antic yesterday on this map.
Well, I wouldn't even say they beat them. They're actually quite dominant, really.
They destroyed Antic. They made Antic look a bit second-rate. And that then led into the conversations today. That led into me then picking Panic over Antic, yada, yada, yada. But, I mean, this is...
I will add the caveat that, in my opinion, they won it on attack, and their attacks did generally look a bit better than defense, but...
They still got
the defense certainly
rounds.
did not...
They still got 3 rounds.
It certainly didn't look as bad as this, no.
Yeah.
No way. And a lot of it came down, I think, to the way in which the attack is approaching it. And harping back to what Mandy said, Circular Spheres are bringing that overall map aggression akin to this sort of map, where you're finding that quick entry, ground, boots on the ground, exploiting that space. Last night we saw Antic largely go for plant win conditions, right? And that sort of set play environment, where 6Targets were given that breathing room to make decisions. They haven't been given it in this game. Prime example, again, where they just lose the entry so early on.
Is he just shown through Passport? Where was Bailey holding? Oh, it's over towards Archives.
Ah, the window vault, yeah.
Tell us, sorry.
Yeah. Very different style to what we saw last night.
I'm assuming it was that just through the soft wall.
Yeah.
Oh, I kind of want a replay of that.
It could have been accidental, I don't know.
Yeah, that's why I want a replay, because I don't know if that was actually done on purpose.
You're going to have to go check the replay.
I mean,
file.
either way, it's very indicative of the half as that.
When you're having a bad day, you're having a bad day.
Exactly. Yeah, and
that's just Siege.
Especially when you're 0-6 and then that kind of happens to you. You're like, what the hell am I meant to do?
Yep.
Another opening kill for CS. But this is where 6Targets need to not let these kind of rounds get to them and think, oh, it's another one of these, right? Like, you've got to just stay locked in mentally. You're still on the defense. They still need to push to you, and then Kagan just gets one-tapped. Lovely angle from McGraw.
It's a case of nothing is going, like, literally nothing is going.
This is probably the worst that we've seen from 6Targets all stage.
Yep.
And they started off the first 2 play days with losses, but those losses weren't anything remotely like this. In every single game they've played so far this stage, they've gotten at minimum 3 defensive rounds. They're about to get 6-0'd on the defense as White finds the kill onto Tex, leading to a 5 versus 2.
This has been a very
I would
one-sided
love
night.
to see how Rob is going to try and spin this.
And Nico still loses that. I mean, wow. Can Specker get a kill? At least for the stats.
Got it.
There we go.
On the board. He might get more. No. Pinku shuts him down 6-0 half.
Wow.
Tiny little golf clap from Physics. Rub of the hands from Goofed.
Jeez.
Wow.
They're making our job quite challenging because
Well,
I don't really know what to say.
I mean, at the end of the day, we didn't expect this to happen, and that really needs to be understood. That going into this match, this was not an expectation. You could make an argument that the opening game today, as that was the one tap, had a bit of time for that shot too. Bliss versus Carlton's Knights, no one was shocked by that result. Antic versus Panic 7-0. Not shocked by who won it, but the fashion in how it was won.
Yep.
And this is a combination of both. Not shocked. So I'm a little shocked as to who's won it, somewhat. But I am perplexed in the fashion in which this is being won. 6-0 against 6Targets. Who won this map yesterday against Antic? Everything about this league just doesn't make sense. Except Bliss. They're the saving grace. They're pretty consistent.
Yeah.
Consistently good as well.
Yeah, well, Circular Spheres very quickly entered the discussion of being stranded in the bottom 2 here for the league portion. And tonight, I think they very much made a case that that was a call too soon. If they can continue to build off this, then it's a very intriguing tale.
Yeah, well, we'll see if 6Targets can fashion some kind of comeback, even if it is just going to be for the sake of making that scoreboard look a little bit better than it is, because right now it looks awful. When was the last time we had 2 7-0s back-to-back? Hasn't happened this stage. Could very well.
Was it stage 1 last year we had the start was super one-sided, or was it super close? I think it might have been close. Yeah, it does feel like we've had quite a few one-sided games though. Tonight, no exception.
7-1, 7-0, 7-0 potentially, depending on what happens in this game. Tex on the Kali. Should mention that was actually banned out against him on border yesterday by Antic. For good reason.
And then he played the Ashen Farm.
And he played the Ashen
he's
Farm.
back on the Kali, so I want to see him prove himself.
Yeah, he is a very good Kali. One-trick territory, but he's so good on the Ash, it's more like 2-trick. Straight in towards top east. Oh, spots a couple crossing. Holds this angle. Probably do have a better gun for this kind of hold.
Well, that's the idea of the Kali. Post top east. Good counter for the mirror with those lances as well. Didn't land the first one though. Flash to come through.
Oh, good pressure
Vault to
him
follow.
wide. Oh my god, what a nitro cell.
Through the flash, the nitro lands 12-0.
I'm pretty sure he might not have been full white, but he was definitely... Oh my god, that's disgusting! 13-0-1!
He still can't hit the lance on the mirror! No! You know, honestly, I'd just be begging. If I'm on 16, can the other team please just ban Kali?
Just end this game, please.
Attackers recovered the bomb
Oh, no.
Wow. Well, I did say after the conclusion of the last match, there was no world in which we were going to see Tuhan lose MVP for the day. Well, Nogga White is 13-0. So I don't know, it's a pretty good battle for MVP. I don't know who you give it to. 15-1 versus 13-0. Still a chance with 3 more players on 6Targets alive. He could overtake. Make that 2 though, because Pinko finds the kill onto Nico. Tex actually gets rid of McGraw. And Japer's down. Momentarily, the round could be back alive. Never mind, there he is again! White's 14-0, and now needs to win the 1 versus 1 against Bailey. Bailey looking to salvage this round for 6 targets. Into the split can we go, into the 1v1 with the red ping information. Mogga White looking for 15-0. 10 seconds remaining. Bailey has to stick the plant. And White should be able to just get the free kill. Close right. No, bit of misinformation. The plant is successful. Mogga White though, initial shots, okay, but not great. Prone, he goes indeed, Bailey. And he pulls out the Bailey. If that's not going to do it, it's a quad kill from Mogga White. It is indeed 15-0. And it is a 7-0 win for Circular Spheres as they run circles around 6 targets. Mr. White indeed. Woohoo!
Yeah, wow, that was a game of Siege. That was a game of Rainbow Six. Circular Spheres came in with a game plan which was to disrupt the attack or the defensive nature of this team. They exploited it so well. Again, forcing 6 targets to play on their toes, think on their feet, presented some ideas that they just didn't have answers to. And they couldn't formulate it in time even after the tactical, and things just went from bad to worse.
That was a horrible game of Siege. From one team. From the other team, it was magnificent, beautiful, tantalizing Siege from Circular Spheres. They're back, baby. They are indeed back. 2 wins in a row for Circular Spheres. After a dismal start to this stage, we're seeing them at their best. Almost as good as the couch.
Just a little bit to the left. Almost,
Just gotta get that one on there.
There
you know?
we go. That's looking so much better.
Wonderful.
I think that's Taylor Swivel thanking you.
Hey.
Maybe?
I think so.
Yeah, I think so.
Sorry, we got 4 good-looking
distracted.
people on the couch.
Yeah, there is. Maybe make that 3.
Who are you excluding here?
I'll let the viewers at home decide that one. Look, we had to entertain ourselves that game because that was just an absolute onslaught. Circular Spheres. They could well have started their stage first 4 games 07-07, 7-0-7-0. That is by far one of the most absurd things I have ever seen, Mandy. I don't know how to quantify what I've just witnessed.
Yeah, look, I don't know how they flip-flopped so hard, but you know what? I reckon me and Dev, we flip-flopped on our predictions. We got Circular Spheres. Hell yeah, they showed up. We're making the comeback. I'm happy.
So you're telling me that both of you are non-believers. Is that what you're telling me?
I'm a believer in Circular Spheres.
No, you're
Yes.
a non-believer in 6
It's
targets.
all about perspective, you know? Yeah.
Cool. Just wanted to make sure we were really clear there, abundantly clear that you're non-believers.
Who's
in 6
biased on the
targets.
couch, by the way?
No one's biased here. There's absolutely there's no one.
He just wants his Specker interview. Don't worry about it. We want our Goofed interview.
You know
Dude went
what?
15-0.
They asked me who I wanted to interview, and I said never Specker again because I just don't like the bloke anymore. That was honestly a bit of a hiding, unfortunately, Dev. I think we had 2 players 0-6, and then I think maybe Specker got a kill, but that was it. It just an absolute. There's no words I can use that are stream friendly right now.
Yeah. On the one side, you got Circular Spheres firing on all cylinders, starting on their attack, no less, and obviously Goofed, going 15-0. Very rare that you have a player in our last game today with Antic, with Tuhan getting 15 kills and I think 2 deaths at the end of it. Very rare that happens, let alone someone shows them up and actually does better the next game. 15 kills to 0 deaths. I personally have never seen a game where someone has not died and gotten that many kills before. That's insane. And yeah, on the flip side of that, 6 targets. Like, where were they? This is the map where they beat the big bogeyman of Antic yesterday, and here in that final round, Tex can't even destroy a mirror window with his Carly's Lance. What's going on there? He uses all 4 lances. He doesn't even disable that mirror window, and Goof playing it gets 4 kills in the round, including a clutch. What is Blood doing? How is he firing up like that?
Yeah, it's, I genuinely don't want to rag too much on 6 targets, but
I do.
It's about time. They really did.
They were quite bad.
They struggled. They struggled immensely. But one person in particular, well, I don't think I've seen a performance that good in a long time, and that's even after the Tuhan performance. He is not just...
Okay, get him off. No. Sorry, Goof. It was nice seeing you, mate, but after that, no, we're just... Rob's vacated the premises. That's all right. We'll have to do this all without... who we got in the
what's
background there,
going
mate?
on
We got Physics, Cody.
Hey, Physics, can we see your face, mate? Physics, can I ask Physics a quick question? Can you give him the headset for a sec?
Physics is here.
Oh, what's up?
Hey, Physics, man. How does it feel to be sitting right now next to the man himself who just went 15-0 against the most watched players in Oceania?
Well, I was coming into the game. I was like, me and Chris or Goof haven't been doing much because especially last game, we just like let the horde off the leash, and it's just like we're just expecting it to just be sort of just us, like the shield in the back, just in case. But I mean, this game has just been exceeded expectations. He's just been there. He's the one that's off the leash now.
He's a gamer. All right, give him back the headset. We want him back. Thank you, Physics, mate. Well played.
Thank you.
Sorry, mate. Just had to talk to your buddy for a second to really gas you up. You wouldn't have heard it, but my God.
Yeah, I missed it. What did you say?
Oh, all kinds of naughty things. You'd love to know.
Oh, God. All right.
Goofed. It's good to see you again.
Sorry, Manic. How have you been?
Mate, I've been better. I've been better. How have you been?
After that performance, a lot better now than the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've got to ask you, mate. I'm just going to ask you the obvious question. Jay Kenner gave us bloody nothing yesterday, by the way, so you're going to have to carry this team on your shoulders.
Yep. He already did, mate.
Yeah, absolutely you did. Week 1 to week 2, what has changed so drastically?
Well, going up against Bliss, those guys, I'll be honest, you can't compete with them. They're on another level. But then, I don't know what happened on Bank. I guess we had a sub in, but we just weren't on. A lot of us were very tired. We got a lot of commitments, but we decided to try to designate a bit more time to, play in the game, I guess. So, it's worked out a little bit in our favor and pulled out some good wins in the past 2 days. So, very happy with what we've been able to do and turn around.
Mandy?
I don't really know. I think for you guys, what's the schedule been like then? You said that you've put a bit more time into the game, but, what's it been like for you guys inside and out of the server?
Oh, look, not too good to play the game.
So good.
Look, when I'm working and when I come home, someone else has to go to work and other people have uni, so we never really have our 5 to practice too much, only on the weekends. So, look, we had the weekend and then we applied what we did then, a bit of ranked, and after the ranked games, we were ready for today and yesterday.
So, mate, you finally fixed up your gameplay. Good on ya. When are you going to fix your name?
Look, I've put the ticket in, and it hasn't come through yet, but I will be goofed in the future.
Thank you. I appreciate it. From all of us here on the desk, we appreciate. Do you know how much I've had to hear these two and those two all the way up?
We love whining about it.
All I've heard is them complain about this bloody name, but I don't think they'll be complaining anymore after a performance like that. What was it that enabled you to do that? I mean, Goofed, I've known you for probably, a year and a half now, a bit more intimately.
Yeah, we go way back.
We've got history.
Remember that thing back in the day that we did?
I remember that thing.
Remember that? That was crazy.
That was a thing we did. We were good old mates back in the day, way back in high school. I'm going to ask you though, what genuinely, what has changed for tonight? Because that is like the difference between your performance now and performance of the past. That was an absolute blinder. Was there something that enabled that tonight?
Well, we were very confident on that map, and obviously we had a VOD on them from yesterday, so we kind of just applied a bit of that beforehand, and we adapted, and then obviously I have to change my name, so I won't be able to mog anymore, so I had to do a little sayonara to the name, so...
I can hear Guz laughing. I can hear Guz laughing in the background. By the way, I've got to ask you, what did you think about my sign-off the other night? Doggers, not moggers. Do you think that was a fair comment?
Look, I agree with it. It was a great comment. You're quick with it.
Believe me, there are many words that I've been called. Quick is not one of them. Quick is not one of them, mate. Do you have anything? Yeah. What? Here we go. Here's the retort.
I was going to say, maybe quick in other areas they don't need to be.
They call me the 3-minute wonder, mate, and it's generally because I wrap interviews up pretty quickly. Have you got anything you'd like to say before we let you go?
Well, shout out to the boys for bringing it back. Look, we're 0-2 down, now we're 2-2. Hopefully we can continue to to go forward and keep getting some wins. Shout out to all the MBAC boys, the Rat, the Kurt, anyone who mogs, anyone who edges, and then and yeah, shout out to anyone watching, shout out Shan, and can't wait to be here next week, and hope everyone's on the edge of their seats, ready to watch the next game.
I think we're more on the edge of our seats for your interview than your game, mate. Congratulations. Hopefully we'll chat to you soon.
Shout out to the 6Target boys. I love those guys. Those guys, I don't know what happened today. They're normally really good on it. We love to warm up with them, so maybe they warmed us up a bit too much the past couple of days. And then, yeah, so I love those guys. Shout out to them. Hopefully they get a turnaround for next week.
Good man. Good man. Look at that. Humble. That's what we like to see. Goof, thank you very much, mate. We'll speak to you soon.
See you guys.
Oh, rare units all around the OCE League. It doesn't matter where you go. It doesn't matter what team you're talking about. There's always one of them. There's always one unique, absolute specimen. And that is by far Goof.
Actually, probably one of my favorite interviews we've had for a while.
Oh, for sure. And that, oh my days, 228 EPS.
I didn't know you could go above 200. I did not know you could do that.
You are absolutely kidding me. If you had said at the start of this day, okay, yes, it was a bit about how long I've known Goof for, but I have known him for a little bit. Never did I ever expect that kind of a number to come out, Mandy.
Oh, man.
I'm speechless.
No, I mean, in a team where you've got, like, you know, Jakenna and Pinku and all the, like, superstar people that try and take the spotlight and are really weird in interviews, then you get this guy coming instead, like, why? Where? How?
How is a better question, I think. And I saw that, hey, on the clutches. Where are we going with this one?
0. It should be 1, I thought.
Well, technically, there should be one clutch because he did win a 1v1 at the end in a post-play situation. But Goofed takes, I'm calling it MVP of the day, I don't care, and really makes this game a literal speed run, Dev.
Yeah. Goofed ain't goofy, that's for sure. He rocked up, he took no prisoners, he did not care that he was playing against his idols on 6 targets. And yeah, I don't think there's only one thing that I have left to say, which is this. This one of these, and then just, that's all I have to say.
How about a gritty?
I'm not doing
you don't have the
not
gritty
doing the
in
gritty
you?
for you,
No?
mate. No.
Mandy, what about you? I feel like you could hit a gnarly gritty.
No, hell
She can
no.
floss.
Hell no.
She can floss.
You can floss. Can we get a floss?
No, I'm not doing a floss on the desk. Absolutely not.
Stay until the end of the show today for Mandy to do a floss. That was not meant to be a throw. I was just trying to throw her under the bus. Sure, well, we can close on that, but
sometimes we
during the next
like
game,
to throw people under the bus.
We will. I reckon, Rob, you and me join up together. We can get Mandy to floss at the end of today.
Let's do it. Mandy, you are flossing today. There's no doubt about it. All right, well, on that note, that is a 7-0-7-0-7-1 for today. Things are going very quick, but we've got the match of the day. I mean, any game could be the match of the day at this point. Man LFO take on Odium, and it's coming up after this short break.